Hey guys, welcome to The Bite. My name is Jackie. Today's video is the epitome of quick and simple and easy and minimal ingredients right here. We're making Mujadara. It's like the rice and beans of the Middle East, except we use lentils. Now, Middle Easterns and especially Arabs are no stranger to the humble lentil. We love lentils and we eat them quite often. So my parents I grew up with two parents who worked. So whenever they would come home and they were low on time or tired, this was the go-to meal. And honestly, I would kind of be like, when they made it, because they would make it so often, but when I took that first bite, I was on top of the world. I loved it because there are things like caramelized onions that add a lot of sweetness. We eat it with a Middle Eastern simple salad that I have a video for, and it's actually my top video on the channel, but that really jazzes it up and kind of brings it to life. It's a complete meal prep worthy, made with pantry ingredients. It's great for college students, and it's a quick meal that you can make when you're having guests coming over. So let me take you over the very few ingredients so we can get to cooking. So for the ingredients, we have rice, lentils, cumin, and onions. So for the rice, my family has always used Mahatma rice. This is a jasmine rice, and this is just my rice of choice, but if you have like a basmati, you can totally do that as well. You just wanna make sure that it's rinsed thoroughly and that the water runs clear. For the lentils, I use the large, either brown or green lentils. That is the typical lentil for this dish. And then cumin plus some salt, and obviously water to cook this all, this is pretty much the spice of choice. I lucked out because this was the last bit of cumin that I had, and I said, we have to film Mujadara. That's it. I've been saying I was gonna do this, and we're doing it now. So glad I had it. Onions are really important. We caramelize the onions, and it just adds an extra element that nothing else could add, because it adds the bite and it adds the sweetness that this brings this whole dish together. If you have large onions, I use about 3 usually, because I mix some in and then I also top some on my mujadara. But because these are pretty small, I'm gonna use 4. You can add more, you can add less, whatever you want, but this is what we're gonna start off with today. So let's head over to the stove and get this rolling. First thing I wanna do is boil these lentils. I boil the lentils first, and this is the traditional way to do it. You boil the lentils because they take longer to cook than the rice does. So I'm gonna put this into my medium-sized saucepan with 3 cups of water, let it come to a boil before I add the rice. So while those lentils are working on coming up to a boil, I'm gonna work on caramelizing these onions. Now, when you're boiling the lentils, you do not want to put any salt or anything in there whatsoever. The salt will prevent the lentils or any dry bean from cooking. So just plain water, and we salt it and add the spice later. But for now, I have a nonstick pan on like medium-high heat, and I'm gonna add in all my onions. This looks like a lot, but just like spinach, it comes kind of wilts down into almost half the size when you caramelize it. And then with my wooden spoon, I kind of break apart the large pieces so that I get little kind of half moons when they're cooking down and caramelizing. So the lentils are up to a boil. I'm gonna let them boil for about 5 to 7 minutes until you can take a spoon and feel the lentil and feel it to where it's like halfway cooked. That's the point that you want it, because then we're going to add the rice and the spices, including the salt, and cover it, and it's gonna cook just like normal rice. These onions are looking good so far. So here's the thing. My family always liked these almost borderline burnt. So that's how I grew up eating it, and that's how I kind of know it. But burnt edges, caramelized center. You feel me? So that is what I'm making, but you can make them however you like them. And one quick tip, or one quick comment. For the mujadara itself, some people cook the rice and the lentils separately, but my family has always cooked them together because the water that the lentils boil in really adds a lot of bold flavor to the final dish, and I think it's really important in how the taste comes out. So I just add the rice right to it, but you can do it however you feel comfortable. These are almost done. This is just about ready for me to add the rice. I'll show you in just a moment. Onions are looking good. I'm gonna add the rice in because these lentils are just about done. So I'm gonna add the rice, add all the spices, and let it cook covered for about 15 minutes or until the rice is fully cooked. You also want to make sure you're lowering the heat at this point as well, too low. Onions are just where I like them. I'm gonna turn off the heat and set them to the side. If you like these less crispy on the outside and more just golden caramelized, you'll want to do the onions on lower heat. This is how I like it, so I do it on medium-high heat, but adjust it to your liking. While this finishes cooking, I'm gonna head over and make my simple salad because that is salad and the caramelized onions are imperative when it comes to Mujadara. It's not a Mujadara without those two things. So let's go. So I have a recipe for this salad on my channel already, so you can go ahead and check it out. I'll link it up at the top right here. But I ended up doing it a little bit differently this time. I only did cucumbers and tomatoes and added a little bit of parsley at the end. And of course, the same exact dressing as I always do. This salad changes from day to day depending on what's in your freezer. You can add bell peppers, you can add fresh mint, dried mint, whatever you have on hand can go right in here. The main components are really the cucumber, the tomato, and the dressing. Once the Mujadara is done, you can remove the lid and start fluffing it with a fork, and then we're gonna take it and add half of the caramelized onions into it. But delicately stir it so you're not breaking up the lentils. So this is really where you can kind of start to get creative. You can add all of the onions in, or you can add half like I did and save the other half for topping it off afterwards. It looks really pretty and it just adds a little extra flair that this humble dish kind of needs. So I think this looks perfect. I'm gonna head to the table and serve it up with my salad. All right, I am so excited because this has really become, as a mom, one of my favorite meals that I know I can feed my family with quickly and with my pantry staples. So I really love this meal. Now normally I love to eat this with pickles. I've always eaten this with pickles since I was a kid, or olives, but I'm out of both. But that's okay, because we have salad. So I'm gonna add this right on the side now. What's important to do is take these juices, these lovely tomatoey, lemony, olive oily juices, and pour it. I'm salivating just seeing this. You're gonna want to pour it, and you can see the green flecks from the parsley, and then lastly, you just wanna top it off with a little bit of caramelized onions. Ta-da! Now this is a small plate. This is like an appetizer for me, but that's okay. I love it. There's nothing like it. If you have lentils, you have jasmine rice, you gotta make this. I know you have onions, and cucumbers and tomatoes are always quick and easy to pick up. This is the ultimate meal that will fill you up on a budget, and I think there's nothing quite like it. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to be notified of when I post videos. There's a lot of good stuff coming up this fall, so be on the lookout for that. Follow me on Instagram and let me know when you make some of my dishes because I love seeing you recreate my recipes. It just brings me so much joy. So thank you, and we will see you next time on The Bite.